While we were covering the 2015 Napa Valley Film Festival, JackRabbit Digital Studios had the opportunity to interview 3 of the 4 selected winners for the 3rd annual Lexus Short Film Series. Alexis McKellick, Byung-Gong Moon, Damian Walsh Howling, and Pippa Bianco. We would also like to give a big shout out to the sponsors, Lexus and the Weinstein Company, for having the vision and the courage to foster new and emerging talent. At the end of the interview, please look for the link to the Lexus Short Film Series website. Thank you and enjoy the interview. Everyone.
Pleasure.
So this has been a bit of a whirlwind for you. If you could each tell me a little bit about getting the call that said you had been accepted, that you were chosen.
Oh, you're saying
you can start.
Well, I got a call, I guess, towards the end of the day on Monday, from Joey saying, "You've made it pretty far, but now I have to do the background check. Is there anything I should know?" So I felt pretty confident I was going to make it at that point if that was the last thing holding me up.
I figured you might as well ask ahead of time. We're going to check you out.
Easy.
We're going to check you out. So is there anything I should know? You know?
Make it a quick background check.
Do you think you want to share now before you check?
No.
You're good.
Oh, good.
You're here. That's all nice. How about you, Jamie?
For me, I was in Australia, in Sydney, where I'm working at the moment, and I'm on a job that I'm doing quite a lot in. So when I submitted, I sort of knew that it might be a bit dicey, and when Joey rang me on Monday, it was Tuesday our time already by that stage, and I had to make a call through to the producers on a show that I'm working on and ask permission. So I had a sort of ecstasy, agony moment where, are they going to let me go or not? So I'm literally here, I just got here like an hour and a half ago, and I fly out again on Monday in 2 days.
Oh, man.
16 hours each way, but it's just such a... It's an amazing thing.
The thrill is
all part of it, you know. And it's I don't know. It's like the jet lag is helping writing.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's surreal. No, it's surreal anyway. I mean, it's such a surreal experience and something that I'm really excited about.
Yes. Yeah. How about you, man?
For me, I already knew about this event from the newspaper, and one day somebody recommended Joy to submit my story in short. So I submit through Without Box, and I got some. After 10 days, I got some. Joy Skyped me, "You were selected," something like that. And after that, he asked me to send my profile or something. So just controversy of Pippi's situation. So.
Well, it's interesting. Yes, up until yesterday, he for a moment thought that he was coming here and there was only going to be one person selected from the 4. I'm like, no, you've already won. You've already won. You're good.
And now we have to duke it out.
Yeah, funny. We're all collaborators now. That's it.
Yeah.
I think last night at our event, I sat next to Moon. He's like, "Is this surreal? Is there that many people going to be here?
Yeah.
This is a big deal. I had no idea this was happening." So I think the excitement and the unknown and the opportunity are so surreal for all 3 of you. It's amazing. And we're, as a part of Lexus, we're truly grateful that you're part of our partnership. We are so thrilled.
I think in a way, the chaos really adds to it. The chaos of time really adds to something because, you know, when you're making, when film ideas come to you, I find anyway that they'll just come when you're given some sort of concept and it jumps. And I think that the time pressure and all of that is fantastic. I think it's a really good way.
It's a nice rush.
And it's a short film, you know, idea. So it's something that for me was a really wonderful time frame. I just sat down and wrote, you know, and
Right.
And that excitement fueled what I was doing. And I don't know for you guys, but that was sort of.
For me, I spent 1 day for writing a story in Korean, and I spent 1 day for translating in English. So yeah, it's kind of very packed and it's rushing too.
Yeah.
For me too. Yeah. But it's so helpful.
So I'm curious to hear how you found out about this whole process, and what was the driving force for submitting?
For me, I mean, there were a number of things. I found out through the Sydney Film Festival there was something on their website, and I saw it and was really excited about it. I was busy at the time, but then I remembered. That's why mine came in so late. And for me, one of the biggest things is the opportunity to make a short film and to work with Lexus and the Weinstein company is like, as a filmmaker, that's a dream. I mean, it's seriously. I mean, that's for free. It's a dream to be able to be involved in that sense and to have your film produced at an international level, and also the concept of making a film from our own regions. Like each region being able to represent that region through the filmmaking process. For me, that's really important because culturally, I think it's important that we tell stories from all around the world, and there's a really universal element behind this, and I could feel that in it. And I don't often submit to these sorts of things, so yeah, to me it was just that universal storytelling nature, but based on regional and cultural mores. So I really like that about it. So,
Nice. Yeah. How about you, Pippa?
Yeah, I mean, I actually know some of the filmmakers who've participated in this before, and I really respect their work because I also don't normally, submit. It's hard to tell, with these kinds of things, which ones are going to be like you're going to have an opportunity to make a really great film because it's not always that kind of a structure. But I knew one or two of the filmmakers who'd done it previously, and I really respect their work, and I really respect, the people who were here this year. So I was really excited to submit for that reason. So.
For me, actually, I'm still full. Maybe.
We all
maybe. Welcome to course. Yeah, full. So maybe I'm possible to buy a Lexus car. For me, I'm also independent filmmaker, right? So it is also impossible to work with Weinstein company. So it's kind of joke, but I really want to check it is I want to make it possible. I want to check it if it is possible or not, something like that. So it's kind of challenging and it's kind of excitement, and I really want to curious about what's the next, something like that, of our project. So yeah,
We'll tell you later.
Yeah. All right. Tell me later. I'd like to ask you, Joey. I know there's over 4,000 submissions, so if you could maybe talk a little bit about the process of selecting their work and what really stood out.
Sure. Yeah. Well, as you said, it was 4,400 plus submissions, which was pretty amazing. Yeah, and watching those films. So, usually in the past few years, I would be able to watch every single submission, every single film. But when you have 4,000 plus films, it's a little difficult to do that. So we actually put together a screening team headed by a friend Landon from Sundance, who's done all this with short films over there before, and put a team of screeners that are all programmers at all various festivals. And so we just went through all of them, and I started watching. Every film was scored between 1 and 5, and anything with a 3 and up I would watch, and of course take our notes and everything. And eventually we got through the process, and we also got to go to all the film festivals. So we went to Melbourne International Film Festival, we went to Rhode Island, then we did a bunch of festivals in Los Angeles, Holly Shores Fest. And then went back out to London for Rain Dance, and then Vancouver for VIF, and then I went to Louisiana, to Shreveport for another film festival. And then it was just a matter of getting through the films, and just, it's so hard because there was just so many amazing short films from so many people. And so what we did is we eventually got to under 100 of these short filmmakers that were just amazing from all over the world. And then now that we have these talented filmmakers, that's half of it. Now we have to give them, this is what Lexus wants to see, this is what the Weinstein company wants to see, and we give them a brief, and they have to come back to us with an idea. And so that's the next challenge, essentially, is being able to come up with an idea that is universal, that everybody can take part in. And so that was the next step. And then it was taking it down to 8, and then eventually everybody decided on the filmmakers that you see here.
I think what was important for Lexus as a global brand, we really wanted to give everyone the equal opportunity. So the screening process was really critical for us. We wanted to make sure that everyone had a chance, everyone had a voice, and we looked at everyone equally. I think that's important being a global brand. So we also looked at the criteria to what we wanted to do from a global brand is centered around anticipation. So we looked at every criteria that really centered around our brand beliefs and anticipation. So we had a criteria that we ranked 1 through 5, and then we looked at the filmmakers that provided the opportunity and the feeling around anticipation, and then we narrowed it down.
I think you made excellent selections. So let's talk about anticipation.
Yeah.
That's a really amazing word to start with. So
Moon's favorite thing.
what comes out?
Moon, you go first.
Yes.
What do you mean? What do I think about anticipation?
Yes.
Right. I think I cannot anticipate anything before doing something. So I'm not a person who cares about the result, but cares about the process. So that's kind of so anticipation is kind of just behavior for just without thinking about the result. So it's kind of challenging for me. So just
Just focusing.
Great answer.
yeah.
Yeah.
And actually, can I say the dialogue of my story?
You want to start telling the dialogue? Sure, I mean,
Because
that helps.
actually, my favorite author is Camus, like Albert Camus, like The Stranger and Past, the novelist Camus. And I like one dialogue from the past. He said, "Undefeated, an endless defeat."
Endless defeat.
Endless defeat, and it's kind of my anticipation for my story. So, is it understandable?
Yes.
Yeah, that is anticipation for me. So, it's an endless defeat is my
And it feels quite
anticipation.
lovely.
Yeah.
You captured it very well.
Beautifully said. Yes.
Yeah.
How about you, Pippa?
So I'll have to follow up.
Anticipation.
I was thinking about anticipation, I guess, with, I guess because of like the regional aspect of it and because of Lexus, I was thinking about, I recently moved to LA, so I was thinking a lot about highways, American highways and driving. And a lot of my favorite films are road films. And that was like how I got into transitioning from like photography, which is where I started to making films, was actually going from like road photography to road films, which I think is not just an American tradition, but it is like a really rich tradition of filmmaking here. I think cars have such like a symbolic weight in American culture. So I was thinking about anticipation through that lens, and I was thinking a lot about Joan Didion, just because I'm in LA, so she writes a lot about what the highways are like in California and what it's like to like move passively through in this kind of like surreal space where you're like, like almost meditative or trance-like, because you're just like cruising in this bubble, like watching sort of everyone around you do the same thing. So I was thinking a lot about that and like anticipating, I guess, through those sorts of metaphors, like who's in the car next to you or what's around the next kind of bend or that kind of thing. So
Yeah, that's a lovely picture. Yes. Very nice. Yes.
And for me, I mean, I think really I felt like there was something around the ambiguity of culture, as I was saying before, about regional and cultural aspects. And I've always been very interested in, as a filmmaker, in where I guess ancient concepts meet the modern world. And there's so much in the ancient world that is still with us, but it's all covered up by what we live in. And so the film idea that I came up with is about the anticipation of how we feel towards cultures that are seen as, say, I guess in a sense shamanic or primitive or whatever, but potentially it's our concept of that is more romantic than what it actually is. And so the anticipation of how we feel about where we're going in our lives, people always searching outwardly rather than listening to their own rhythm. So it's really about the anticipation of moving forward into other rhythms in the world and looking for that, but then coming back to, well, what is it that my rhythm meets in the world and how that all sort of fits together. So for me, yeah, I guess it sort of sat in quite a poetic space. But the story that I don't want to give too much away about but the story is quite linear, but it has those elements to it.
Beautifully described.
Yeah.
Well, speaking of movement, I look forward to seeing how you all will move in the world, and I want to thank Weinstein and Lexus for having such a beautiful competition to bring emerging artists into the world.
Can I say one other thing? Just one thing that also interested me about the whole competition was what you said to me on the phone, Joey, just about the mix, and I think you said it before, Pippa, between Lexus and Weinstein in terms of the commercial meeting the art side of things. And Joey really helped me to understand before I wrote my treatment that we're here to make films as artists and also mix the commercial with that. And that's the world. That's the way the world works
Yes.
in
I think
so
more
many different ways.
importantly, we're here to support up and coming filmmakers.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not a commercial for us.
Yeah.
You know, we really want to embrace the film culture and supporting up and coming film directors. I think that's a very huge passion for us, and that's that's the beauty of this project.
Yeah.
Absolutely, yes. And I think it's very brave to be a short filmmaker. I think that it can be very challenging to give someone an entire experience in under 10 minutes, or
And make so much money doing it.
Absolutely.
I think that's all we have time for. So thank you so much for being here, and I look forward to seeing your work and what you do going forward. Thank you, Joey.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.